I'm going to venture a guess that you were a good mom, and you were also a dutiful daughter, a loyal friend, and a stable pillar. But now we're living in a world that is marked by broken family relationships, never ending family conflict and drama. Maybe you're an estranged parent and you don't really understand why. Or you've got entitled adult children, or incredibly brazen and disrespectful children who are still children. And none of it makes sense, especially according to the rules that we were taught to live by. We probably all know we grew up in a very different time and season than exists right now. Women like me, we grew up in an era where responsibility, duty, and doing the right thing were the gold standard. That's what it meant to be a good person. So, how did we end up as the villain or the toxic one in the narrative that some of our family members are sharing? How did doing the right thing end up going so wrong? Far too many of us are locked into the silence of estrangement or dysfunctional dynamics that keep repeating themselves again and again. It turns out the rules have changed, but nobody told us. And a lot of us are still using a map that expired in the 1980s to navigate our current family landscapes. These are landscapes where our kids know more than we did at their age, especially about mental health and relationship dynamics. And they also have much greater access to information and different schools of thought than we ever did. Both for better and for worse, the rules of the past no longer work at all for the family dynamics of today. Let's talk about why. I already kind of alluded to this first one, but we currently have a generational disconnect like no other. It's true that generational gaps have always existed, but thanks to technology and the ability to connect with anyone anywhere in the world with just the click of a button, those disconnects between the generations are much greater than they have ever been before. And everything that we thought we knew, things that everyone did back then, things that were modeled for us, were normalized, they don't work anymore. And in many cases, they've been deemed bad, whether they really were or not. I think that's where a lot of us are left wondering, how did this happen? When you're a smart, capable woman, which I'm assuming that you are, your brain naturally wants to solve problems. And when you look back at your history, you see a record of being a responsible, dedicated, loving, good parent. But yet you're hearing labels like gaslighting and toxic thrown at you from adult children or people who used to be close to you. They carry a punch, but these labels don't match your intention, and they certainly don't match your own interpretation of reality. It's confusing in a lot of ways because you weren't trying to be controlling, you were trying to care, trying to teach responsibility, trying to teach them how to function in life. But we're living now in a culture where boundaries have shifted, largely because of that generational gap, but also because we know more than we did back then about attachment and early childhood trauma and how to build healthy relationships. We live in a noisy world, though. Have you ever noticed that everyone around you seems to have an opinion about your life or your family? Even if they don't know you, even if they haven't lived it, they've still got an opinion and they're probably still going to make it known. And then we have all the noise from the internet. That noise can be very loud, and it can often feel like any mistake that you've ever made, even many years ago, has now been turned into a justified reason for you to be erased. Even though that's not really what's happening, and certainly not what's intended by most of us who talk about this stuff. It's also true that some of the loudest noise comes from within our own circles. It's the gossip, or the lies from an ex-spouse, or demands of adult children, and it can even come from the thoughts that are circling in our own heads. When that noise gets loud, our first instinct is to explain, to defend ourselves. We want to show them the facts, to prove that we're not who they're saying we are. And yet, now we're the ones that are being cast out. This is what I truly wish every woman who has ever lived through this could hear. My friend, you can't fight back. You can't defend yourself against this stuff. You don't know what's been said or who's heard what. And more often than not, trying to do the right thing ends up playing right into whatever those people have heard, and it's been twisted in all kinds of ways. And without even realizing it, those good things you're trying to do end up becoming evidence that you really are the bad person that they said you are, simply because you did what you thought was right. It's okay to admit that this feels unfair. It's okay to acknowledge that losing your family hurts, especially when you've spent your entire life trying to build something good, trying to be good, and trying to be responsible. And you thought it was guaranteed to last forever, even though it didn't. So, where do you go from here if you've been in this kind of a situation? When you're in the middle of it, you don't need people telling you, you got to do this or you got to do that. You don't need a 10-step plan to fix your family. What you do need is to stop the emotional bleeding. You need answers for, what do I do now? I put together a brand new free resource that can help you do just that. It's called the Family Drama First Aid Kit. Because seriously, who doesn't need a little first aid when it comes to family drama? I know I do. It's not about fixing them. It's not a lecture. It's not any big thing you have to do. It's a tool to help you find your center and to catch your breath while you figure out what your next step needs to be. If you'd like a copy of that, simply comment first aid down below and I'll share where you can get it. I get this stuff can be heavy. It's hard. It can be all consuming at sometimes, but that family conflict, the estrangement, the difficult relationships, they are not the sum total of who you are. They also don't get to define who you are or what you need to be doing. You're still a woman who worked to build something really good, and you put a lot of effort into building that life and that family that you wanted. That strength hasn't gone away. We're just now going to learn to use it to protect your peace instead of carrying the weight of people who aren't even ready to meet you halfway, especially in a world where all the rules have changed. If you're the one who's always been dependable, the one who everyone goes to when there's a problem, or you're the family shock absorber, and you're exhausted by all of it, this next video right up here will help you understand what's behind it, what's really going on, and what you can do to change it. Check it out. I'll see you over there.